there everyone, and welcome to today's video here on my channel. 2016 has come to an end, and as per annual ritual, we have to do the best books that I read in the year 2016. I have done a best books of the year video for 2014 and 2015, so I will link them down below. So if I don't mention any book that you know I love, that's probably because they're on one of the other lists. And so yeah, go check that out if you want to see what I loved in previous years, but this video is going to be for the books that I read in 2016 and loved in 2016. So let's get into the books that I just absolutely loved in the year 2016. Starting off the list, I have number 9 of the best books that I read this year, and that is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This is a book that I read at the beginning of the year when it came out, and I read it right after it came out, and I just think it was full of so much epicness. The book follows this time-traveling pair of people, and they get to travel through time and space, and you get to go all over the world during all these different time periods, and I just thought it was so cool, and the way they told this story was amazing. It also wins like the award for the best cover of the year because this cover is so beautiful. But I'm so excited for Wayfarer, which comes out in like less than like 2 weeks or a week, I don't even know, but I'm so excited, and that's the second and last book in this duology. It's gonna be so good. And then next on my list is a book that I don't actually have a physical copy of, and that is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. This is the first book that I read this year, and I was so pleased with it. Like, the reason I read it is because the movie was coming out, but I was just so in love with this story. I loved how it was like a puzzle you had to figure out the entire time and you weren't sure what was happening. It was so good, and I filmed an entire book thoughts video, so I'll link that down in the description if you want to go check that out. But I just really enjoyed that book, and I'm sad I don't have a physical copy, and I want to get one so much. I haven't finished the series because I've heard some mixed things about the second book and the third book, but I definitely think at some point I'm gonna get back into it because I absolutely loved The Fifth Wave. It was so good. And then number 7 on my list is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I don't think I've ever felt what I felt when I was reading Me Before You in any other book, in any other story. It was so addicting. I remember I took this on my spring break vacation to Massachusetts, and I just sat in the hotel and read it straight through in one day, and I just loved the story. The characters were some of my favorite characters, and I don't know what it is about this book, but I loved it so much. It's also one of like top tier cry-worthy books. Like, I was 3 a.m. in the hotel bathroom on the floor just sobbing. I couldn't do it, but it was so good, and I love this book so much. Next on this list we have, probably is not a shocker to anyone, if you've been on my channel for more than like a couple videos, you should know that I love this series, and I love this author, and just everything about this story was amazing. The first book in the Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. I loved this book so much. Oh my gosh. I also have an entire book thoughts video on this book, which is also one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I really enjoyed that video. Delve deeper into all of my thoughts on this book, but it was so good. This book follows the Percy Jackson series, which also follows the Heroes of Olympus series. So it's kind of like the third series in that storyline. It follows the god Apollo, who has been cast down from Mount Olympus, and he has to live life as a human. I loved this book so much because we get to go back to my favorite characters and my favorite place ever. No matter what I say in any video ever, I definitely think Percy Jackson will be my favorite series just because it got me through childhood, and I have such nostalgic feelings about it, and I love it so much. So every time I get to keep reading in that world, it's just amazing, and Rick Riordan knows how to write such a good story. It's hilarious, and the chapter titles have haikus in them, and Apollo is such a promising character. Like, this series is gonna be 4 more books. Can you just imagine how amazing it's gonna be? I'm so ready for the character development. This book was amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Highly. I have completely lost track of my number system, so who knows what number this is. The next book almost completely took me by surprise. I was not anticipating to like this book as much as I did. I wasn't entirely excited about it because the plotline kind of threw me around a little bit, but then I read it and I just loved it so much. And that book is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. My edition is actually signed because I got to go to a Morgan Matson signing this year, which was just such a great time, and I loved doing that so much. It was my first author signing, and she's hilarious, and I love Morgan Matson. She's one of my top favorite authors. I didn't know I was gonna like this book as much as I did, just because the plotline kind of made it a little wonky for me. I didn't think I'd like the main character, but once you get into reading it, it's just so good and so relatable, and the love interest, Clark, just made me feel so many things. I love this book. Like, I've been waiting for this video just so I could tell everyone how much I loved The Unexpected Everything. Definitely one of my all-time favorites now. Oh, you need to read this book if you didn't this year. It was so good. And then my next favorite book of the year might be a little bit of a shocker because other than one video, I haven't really talked about it that much, and so we'll see. And that book is Hamilton: The Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter. This book is an absolute beast of a book. It's gigantic, but I read it during the booktubeathon this year and I just loved it so much. I always talk about how much I downplay my love for Hamilton just because I don't want to be a part of the huge hype that it has, and so I never really talk about my undying love for Hamilton, but I love it so much. Following this musical since the very beginning, like when the week the cast album was released, I was there because musicals are my life. This book kind of solidified my love for this musical. He took so long to think of everything that is involved in this musical, and this book just goes into such amazing detail about all the songs. It made me cry way more than once. So my camera just decided to cut out, so yeah, I don't really remember what I was talking about. Hamilton, really good book, definitely check it out. So the next book, or books, that I have on my list is actually an entire series. I read the entirety of this series this year, and I love it so much. And that is the complete Throne of Glass series, all by Sarah J. Maas. I got the first 4 books in the series for Christmas last year, and just throughout the year I've been reading them and talking about them, and it's been my Throne of Glass year, really. So to this day I have read every single book Sarah J. Maas has put out, and that just makes me really proud. I think this is my biggest reading achievement right here. Like, cross it off the reading bucket list. I'm so proud that I got through all these books this year. If I had to pick my favorite out of the series, definitely Queen of Shadows. I loved Queen of Shadows. It's just, these books are so fast-paced and action-packed. The storyline I just find so interesting. Like, it's almost like a puzzle. Like, everything connects to something else and you just have to unravel it. The characters are just some of my favorite characters ever. And so now we have gotten down to the final 2 of my favorite books of the year, and these are some of my favorite books just ever. I really recommend them to anyone. They changed me. Love them. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I don't even have words for this book, or how this book made me feel, or how much this book has just impacted my life. I feel like I'm about to start crying. I wanted to read this for forever. It just took me so long to read it, and I don't know why, because I connect to this book so much, and it really could have helped me through things that I've gone through, but I'm just so thankful that I read this. I honestly will recommend this book to anyone. I think everyone in the entire planet needs to read it. I think even if you're not a reader, you should read it. Even if you're not in high school, you should read it. It just has such important themes, and I honestly think it delves into what a good story is, and it changed me and I love it. So super, super grateful that I read this book. I love this book so much. And then we have the number 1 book on my favorite books 2016 list. There seems to be a hole in my top shelf here. Just a book-sized hole where there should be a book. This book is actually really underhyped. Not many people have been talking about it here on BookTube. Like, I think I've seen like one other person talk about it other than myself. I don't think I've mentioned it that many times on my channel. It's just the author is really not well known, like, so I wouldn't be surprised if actually nobody guessed what my first book is here on my list. That book is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I'm kidding. Honestly, everyone knows this book. Everyone put this book on their favorite list because it has taken the book internet world by storm. I remember last year when I did my favorite books of 2015 video, I put A Court of Thorns and Roses as my number 1 book for the year, and I believe I was one of the only people to do that. I just had such faith in this series, and look at how far it's come. It is honestly one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life, and to this day will be my favorite book until something beats it, and it's really, really high at this point. It has my favorite squad ever in a series. I love all the characters. They're so good. You love the characters you're supposed to love, and you despise the characters you're supposed to hate, and I just think that is such an amazing story. This book actually followed this retelling of the story of Beauty and the Beast, and then the second book follows the story of Hades and Persephone. Kind of, it's a little off the rocks there, but I just think it is so good, and it takes so many unexpected turns. And the main character is literally so amazing. If I could be any main character, I'd want to be Feyre. This book gave me so many emotions. I have an entire 33-minute long book thoughts video on this. Yeah, I know. It was originally 2 hours, and I had to edit it down to 33 minutes, and there was so much that I got rid of, but I just had so many opinions on this book. I love this book. I love how many people love this book, and I just think it's an amazing series. You don't have to love it, and it's not something that everyone will love, but honestly, I just think it's one of the best books I've read, and it was the best book I read this year. It has been an amazing year for reading for me this year, and last year was amazing as well. I am so excited for the year 2017 because I have never had a longer list of anticipated releases, so I am just really hyped for all the amazing books that are going to come out. So if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up down below, and in the comments let me know any of your favorite books from the year that you read or any that came out. Did we have any the same? We probably did. We probably did. And that is all I have for today's video. I hope you had an amazing 2016. Even though we had some bad things happen in 2016, I hope you were able to take a step back and just realize the good things that happened in your life during 2016 and be ready to make 2017 one of the best years of your life. Let's do this. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to be awesome.